Well, collective, they're just. Today's an interesting day, and when everything feels like it's on track. And I've been reading a lot about um, cosmology and things of that sort, and the cycles and things like the Big Bang, and I can relate the Big Bang to a lot of us when our third eye's open. Everyone looks at it like it's or scientists look at it like it's something that happens in the cosmos and in space, and it does. But there's also that part that our brain, our minds, our hearts, mainly our hearts are connected to that, and when we feel those emotions, like I've said, we can time travel with that. But you want to make sure you're when you go through those vortexes, and this is stuff they don't really talk about in manifestation because it's always just trying to get what you really want out of life. But through my process, I've tried to be very disciplined, and it was already predestined for me, but I still had ends of it, that I needed to work through, because there's still people that can have all the money in the world and can have a great life, and there's still something, some form of hurt or trauma in the spirit, that can attack them and cause them to want to have ill wishes upon others. And I'm not ashamed to share that. I'm been sitting reading today, and just really trying to be in that good energy. And there are individuals that have crossed my path that have somehow magnetically attracted to where I'm at. And I noticed yesterday there was this energy of a very stalky, like lurking, energy. And I a couple days ago sent out a signal, kind of like a distress signal, saying like there's something going on here. I'm not liking it. There's something either on the electromagnetic field or and it's connected to a physical body that's in some form attacking me, whether they're conscious of it or unconscious of it. And it kept going back to career opportunities, and there was a lot of trauma in that for me because of all the things that were happening, and because someone revealed, my gifts to me while I was working on a clock, on a accountability sheet, and not in my personal time, And they said my gifts. It's one thing to tell someone they're spiritually gifted versus saying a specific gift that they have. And it kept going back to career, and I'm like, I'm already doing what I need to do for my research and to help develop new systems, for Earth and for America, and all that. And I've already done a lot of that. And spirit has always been able to show me across the electromagnetic field exactly what I've been working towards, and that started when I wanted to do things having to do with the United Nations and things of that sort, and I realized how tied into their agendas I was, and then I started cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting because I wasn't getting back what I was putting in. And that's the thing, is like, if people don't ever know exactly what they're on or what agenda they're on, what their prescription or recipe, those things come with a card that tells you what's in there. And that applies in life too. It's like, you should know consciously, even though they don't read those things, I've read them, but you should know consciously, what's getting put into your reality and whose reality you're part of. Because in manifestation, I've experienced where there are people that they do have good intentions, but during their manifestation, they don't think about the whole operation. They don't think about, by them manifesting in their thoughts. And and that's the thing, is like, a lot of people just manifest in their thoughts, whereas I've manifested through my heart, and then it came into the thoughts, which brings us from the 3 brain, which is the 3 lower chakras, into the heart chakra. And that's what I've led with, and I know that has a lot to do with my divine purpose. But when that third eye comes open and you realize you can do this, which there's less than 10% that supposedly can manifest, but I feel like there's a lot more that actually do it unconsciously. But when I was sitting, talking, or reading, and kind of just talking to myself a little bit, there was a point when there was a release of energy where it was like, I was trying to feel really good in the moment, but there was still that weird spirit that comes through that, was trying to get me to, wish ill on those that I've recently come across, that I realized that they had a negative effect. Some of the things that happened in my process. And, there's things that train, and I try to look at everything as a learning lesson, not necessarily a mistake. But, when there's that dimension in time where that on some timeline, that they had some ill intentions, and oddly enough, one of those individuals looks very uncanny and identical to someone I met that had some oddly weird, specific intentions, and speaking negativity into existence right before a deployment that I was supposed to go on a long, long time ago. And it's very strange, and that has a lot to do with the cosmology, and the cycles. But my Big Bang, for me, like, there's a personal experience to a Big Bang, which is that third eye opening and consciousness coming in, because then you fully start becoming aware, and your Akashic records get open, and you're looking through it, and they say those are just personal to you, and they are, but there are people that know how to get into that. And whoever does birth certificates and things of that nature, in some way in consciousness, whether they're conscious of it or not, they somehow get that access. And then there's the spirit that happens, and they don't know that. And it's like, people that deal with people's personal records should have, which is mainly human resources, they should have a very spiritual level of training, because I know at the federal level, and really just throughout, like, there's people not being comfortable in their positions, and even though they do remote work, like, there's still, like, you don't ever know what everybody's doing, and there's a part where I can remote view, and I can do things, like, I have that ability to see what everyone's doing on in my current existence, but I don't use it for that, and I haven't really practiced it because, I just don't want, I let it go, and I'm trying to go with the flow, and I usually have, but, there's just that spirit that tries to come through that, says, yeah, everything's great. Now, let's see if we can, wish ill on other people. And I found myself thinking that, and I didn't like it, and it actually made me very, very upset. And, it's a negative energy, and, I think it was just a result of, sometimes those negative energies can be positive signs. And for me, like I said yesterday, Archangel Michael was coming through, and there was that weird, stalky, lurking presence where it was making me feel uncomfortable, and it was making others around me feel uncomfortable. And I can feel all of that, and I'm like, I'm not, the stalkerish type of person, but I am aware of how the angels protect my energy, and that's how I know, is it'll feel like a negative energy like that, but it ends up being protection. And then today I wake up and, the energy's gone. The individuals I was around yesterday, like, that energy isn't there anymore for the stalking, lurky, weird feeling, because that was Archangel Michael's way of saying, like, the situation's been taken care of. That cycle's ended. Those people or those spirits will no longer be bothering you. And so that's what I took it as. But then there was still an after effect of the energy, because for every action there is a reaction. And so today's reaction was kind of like passing that situation across the board, and it was like Spirit asking, like, well, what do you want us to do with this, with these people that did you wrong? And I'm like, it's weird for me to have those kinds of spirit questions come through, just because, even though I'm a woman and I'm the law, I'm very forgiving, and so the fact that those questions even come through, it's like, yeah, they come through more clear, and that's great, and that's a great sign. It lets me know, like, how significant I am on the cosmic council of decision making. But then, for me, it's always forgiveness, and I feel like that has more power than punishing somebody for, invading my life the way that they did. And like I said, some of that was very conscious, and then some of it was unconscious, especially those that work in the quantum fields. And they act like they don't, because there's it's all new, but some of them act like they didn't. And I'm like, I know, but I don't care, because I'm focused on my end, like, I'm focused on what I manifested. I don't care about yours, because I know I'm protected. But it just really hurt my heart that came across. And even though it was a simple, I forgive them for what they did to me, it's still, and with their spirit and with their soul and whatever their spirit team, whatever their stuff is, I forgive all of it. And it's making those conscious